2, 1. Hey, everybody, welcome to PPR Podcast number 154. My name is Paul Rudy. The star of this podcast always sits to my right, even though you're sitting about an inch low, I think. His name is, come up, gain a little altitude. Brooke Grossman, everybody. Jeez, we almost had our first insurance
here.
We almost had our first insurance claim.
I feel like we're doing this podcast with Lincoln's Field.
Boy, Coach, we are joined. Can you introduce Coach? Be grateful that you don't have to work with this lot. You have it good where you are. Coach Dunn, welcome to the podcast.
I introduced Coach Dunn.
Oh, go ahead, do your thing.
I have to do my full thing.
Okay,
No introduction needed. Coach Dunn by way of Morse Tigers, Fresno State Bulldogs, Cincinnati Bengals, and his beloved Raiders. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing all right.
Coach, how many years now is it at Lincoln?
Well, this is year number 17.
17. I watched you grow that program from a collection of great individual athletes to a great team/program. How did you do that?
Well, it's been definitely a lot of hard work and dedication and a lot of commitment and a lot of patience, to be honest. But a great group of kids, great community, and I love being here.
But is my assessment accurate? I mean, there's always been great athletes at Lincoln, and there's been great teams. But now you've turned it into what is recognized as one of the best programs, certainly in the section, certainly in Southern California, in the state. And if you're one of the best in California, you're one of the best in the nation. It's changed. Now it's a great team. Is it not? Or am I off on that assessment?
No, that's what we're pushing the most is just team. Individuals, you can get accolades for things like that, but when you come together and work as a team, as a unit, that's what makes this whole thing work. So, that's one of the main building points was forming a strong team and making sure that we were able to continue to work year in and year out as a team, which makes us, very great opponents.
Yeah, and we follow every year. I mean, you can see the chemistry, the continuity between not just the players, but Bashif, Jason, and yourself. I mean, always on the same page, always on the same script. I mean, that has to do a lot with it, too. No turnover, really, with the coaches.
Well, that's really the key right there is us being able to trust each other. We all have football knowledge. I trust Jason Carter. I trust Bashif Jones to do their job, and they trust in me to lead this program. So without trust, the program goes nowhere. And that was one of the main things when they both came on staff here. With majority of my coaches, I say, hey, we're a community where it's a lot of single-family homes, and what I would like for us to have for these young men is that, consistency. I don't want coaches coming in and out, for 1 and 2 years. I would like for the coaches to be here. You say you had the same coach for 4 years at the same spot. That means a lot, and it fosters great relationships with our kids.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. All right, so let's get to the topic at hand, your field. And Coach, give us a little piece of credit because we were banging this drum 3 years ago, KUSI and the PPR was. And not that we've affected any positive change, but at least we've been talking about it. But talk doesn't get the field replaced. What's it going to take? Who has to be convinced that field is not safe?
I'm just taking a look at things, the field itself. I mean, we're going through all the proper channels to try to make sure that everything is done correctly, and we want to make sure that our field is up and safe and done correctly. But it's been being pushed back, year after year, and I believe it first should have been like 4 or 5 years ago that it should have started. But I think on the record, or we can follow up on paper, definitely 3 years ago is when it should have been addressed. So I know there were repairs that were done to the field, but the field itself was not replaced, and the repairs are they're not good repairs. I mean, to be totally honest, it's uneven. Our turf is really worn down to pretty much it's like a bad welcome mat, a bad piece of carpet that's really worn out. And the repairs, it shows attempted blades of grass, but there's like a quarter inch, a half inch difference in certain areas of the field where it proposes tripping hazards and things like that. And now the field is so worn, that the seams are coming up in certain areas and it's exposing underneath where, there's concrete. And so that's very unsafe. We don't want our kids on our opponents to have to be going out and trying to play on that, not just for football, but, even for our high school students that use the field every day. We also have soccer, lacrosse, and everyone is involved with our field. ROTC is just unsafe. The field is unsafe.
Yeah. What's going to happen first? That field get replaced or the Tijuana water treatment plant? I mean,
maybe the new airport.
Yeah,
I know they had to. There was some leakage situation that took place. We found out over a year ago, where they had to come in and fix the drainage situation. So I know that was one of the reasons that the field got postponed. But that they addressed that early on, beginning of the year over the Christmas break, and they got it fixed. And to my knowledge, they ran the proper testing for it, and the drainage system is all repaired, and the track has been put up. Which is another big key is the track and field. Lincoln High School and Morris High School have not hosted a home track meet in 6 years, and that is unheard of for that to happen. But then when we get to the field here, the field is horrible as well. So while the track is up right now, we should also be doing the field and work inside out to make sure we can get all the problems situated at one time instead of trying to do the track and then possibly coming in and do the field later with having the driver, all the heavy machinery and stuff back over the track, which could possibly damage it again.
And have to do the track again.
And what happens, because as coach, you have enough trouble scheduling every year just because nobody wants to play you there. It might be 9 weeks in the season before you even see a home game at Lincoln. when it's not, but when it's not a San Diego Unified school, say it's Cathedral or Saints, and they walk on that field, are they going to say we're not playing here? At some point you walk out there and I'm not playing here.
I'm just being totally honest. That's a question that a lot of our opponents do ask. They're like, man, you guys' field looks really, really bad, man. When are you guys going to get a new field? And I just have to keep saying, the information that's been sent to me is that, we're supposed to get one next year. Oh, maybe again next year. But I've been saying this for 3-4 years now. And that is, we're way past that point. It's unacceptable now. The field is now, it's unsafe. It's not even unacceptable. It's unsafe. There's places on this field that can seriously injure somebody. And we've been extremely lucky that no one has sustained a major injury on this field. We don't want that for anyone, not for any of our kids or none of our opponents' kids.
I get it. I get your concern. What are you going to do? It's not like there's a lot of acreage around the school where you can go play over at the park. Your only alternative is to practice in the gym, I'm guessing, right? And
right now, like for track season right now, we are, we're jumping on a bus right after school, 3:35, and we're heading over to Logan Memorial to use their track so we can practice. And our lacrosse team will be joining us over there so they can use the field so we can practice at their school. So this is the perfect time for them to come in and fix the field while the track is up. And it's the perfect time to come in and get this done. I don't see why it continues to be pushed back. I believe they said there were 3 fields already scheduled to be done this year, so we would have to get pushed back to next year. Us and Morris would have to be pushed back to next year. And I'm like, we have the worst field condition. I don't understand why we would have to be pushed back behind another field when we've already been pushed back year in and year out.
So answer that question. Why is it, in your view? If you had to say why are you guys getting pushed back, what would you say?
I would say, being that it's Lincoln and Morris and we're intercity programs, I don't think it gets enough steam behind it to get it done. I don't think Torrey Pines and Poway would have this issue. Not to be able to have their track have a track meet for 6 years, that's unheard of. So I don't understand why it's not a priority here to get these things done. You have Morris with the Tiger Relays, which is historical, and I haven't heard of that in a long time. They don't even have their track available like that. And then here we are making a great run here at Lincoln, and year in, year out, we're one of the top programs, and all of the social media and all of the television stuff that's following that we're getting right now. Everyone sees this field all the time, and everybody wants to be involved with this program, and it's constantly being seen. So when we're drawing a big crowd out to our field, it was embarrassing for the Helix game last year. The semifinal game, it was standing room only, and the field looked absolutely horrible. To have coaches out there with their blower, we're out there blowing the field, trying to remove some of the black beads or move them around so it doesn't look that bad, or we're out there sweeping the field ourselves. I mean, we're supposed to be coaching the game. There's so much stuff that we have to do outside of that that is just unnecessary and uncalled for, where I know it's not happening in other programs. But we want to make sure we support our program. We love our program. All we want to have is a safe playing conditions and a safe field for our students and our players.
So have you been told at all? Because I mean, it sounds like it's going this way, whether they say it or not. But have you been told there's a possibility you're going to be playing all neutral site games next year? No home games there?
You know, that's the way I'm looking at it right now, because if we get pushed back to next year, all they could do is come in and make some repairs to try to make it safe. But I just don't feel that that's even going to be doable. You know, and then the headache of, I don't know, possibly having to practice somewhere else. All that's a huge headache, and we have a huge schedule. I mean, we got to play. We got Los Alamitos coming down here, which is the top 10 in the state, and we have we have Los Alamitos, and we got Long Beach Poly on the schedule. We have some huge teams that are coming down to play this year, and we would love to have our home games and have our home field advantage, but if we can't get this rolling like ASAP, that's probably not going to happen. You know, and I have a senior class this year of 32 seniors. The kids have been here for all 4 years, and they've been waiting as well to hopefully they'll have a new field by their senior year. It would be devastating for us to have to go on the road all year long.
Well, if anything, you've got a team to do it, but that's not. You shouldn't have to, frankly. That's not right. And what are we talking about? $400,000? What's a field cost now?
No, like 1.2 probably.
$200,000?
No, 1.2.
1.2?
They're about 800, 1.2 now, aren't they, for a field?
Honest to God?
Yeah, they're pretty pricey. The fields are not cheap.
So, well, what does it cost? If I was going to cut you a check, what would I have to write a check for?
You know what? I wouldn't even have the number right now.
Either does he in his accounts, so don't worry. He don't have the numbers either.
So what are you saying, Coach? You don't think I have the money?
Hey, man.
He's going to go to Marshall's, do a bunch of welcome mats stitched together. But, I mean, they set the precedent's already set with track. Like you said, 6 years with not a home meet. So the precedent's already set that it's probably not going to be a home game next year. And Los Alamitos come back, state district says you can play there. They're not going to get off the bus and play there. On that field?
I mean, yeah, we have Los Alamitos, we have J. Sarah. I mean, we have some programs coming down here that are ranked top 10, top 12 in the state, and there's going to be some huge games. And I know that we got some games. Definitely going to be a PPR game of the week, and I know we'll have a lot of coverage to come out to the games. But you know, if we're not able to have that here, that's just that'll be a bad situation for our kids.
All right, well, we'll leave that for now. Coach, you were on 2 morning shows, and you're on this podcast. So we obviously, we see it through your lens. I think you know, right?
Yeah, I'm really tired of it, man. I'm really patient. I'm really patient, and I believe everybody's going to try to do the right thing to get things done. But I mean, I have to worry about the safety of our kids and our program, and there's no way that they don't make this a priority to go out and get this fixed and get these things done. Like I said, my quarterback's one of the top in the country here. That's a huge factor to have a quarterback ranked so highly, and I have multiple players with offers, with Division I offers in this program, and even just kids that are just really good high school players that's going to finish out their high school career. I want them all to be safe. I want them all to be safe. I want them all to be able to finish, have their home games at home on a nice field where it's a safe environment and a safe space for everybody to participate.
All right. Let's leave it there, and obviously we'll pick it up as you see fit down the road. Coach, where do you make your biggest contribution, you think, on or off the field as it relates to your athletes?
I think my biggest contribution is off the field. We have good coaches. We all can coach, and that's what I explain to my staff. That's not the hard part of it. Football. The football part of it is not the hard part of it, but fostering these relationships with these young men, lifelong relationships. Understanding that a lot of our kids come from struggles, and we're here to support them. And so, like I say, when I have a lot of single family homes and a lot of broken homes that's in the community, it's very key to have strong men around you. So having a strong, consistent presence, not only on the field, but off the field as well. I'm worried about your classroom. I'm worried about your personal life. I want to make sure you're making the best decisions and the right decisions. But, to have guys like, Don Chapman, who graduated this year from North Carolina, and, Keyshawn Smith up at SMU, and have these guys just call in at any time, just to check in, or, just to Ray Kirkland, who's just attending San Diego State and not playing football any longer, but just to check in and see how these young men are doing, and invite me to their weddings, and show me pictures of their kids and their families and stuff, and just talk about how influential we were off the field. Or it's much more important than the championships to me, is that I'm building long lasting relationships with these young men, and they're doing things that's not expected of them coming from Lincoln High School. And that's really big to me, is that I tell them all, no one really expects us to succeed here. They just look at the wins on the field. I said, but I'm looking at the wins all the way across. It's not about just on the field with me. I want to make sure you're good, productive citizens. I want to make sure you're taking care of your families. I want to make sure you're doing the right things. And that's what's huge to me. And I think that's why we have a success, not only on the field, but off the field. And I'm extremely proud of that.
I got a question for you.
You're on the list.
Well, all right. So, Coach, last 2 years, you've probably had my two favorite defensive players here in a long time. Jerome, last year, Roberts.
Joshua.
Who's it going to be this year? Is there another one coming?
Who's number two?
Who's number two this year?
Who was number two? It might be a surprise this year. I may have two number twos. I've narrowed it down, and there's two guys right there that deserve to wear that number. And it could be a possibility where they both will end up wearing the number. But I'll go on and put it out there earlier. There's two guys that's right in my alley who's done the right things, that goes into wearing the number two. They show up every day. They put in hard work. They're good they're great in the classroom. They're leaders. They lead by example, and they're just excellent character kids. And that's Mr. Aiden Jackson and Mr. Eugene Rice. Those two are doing a great job, and they're battling out right now, both with a 4.33 GPA, and trying to see who's going to be the top student athlete here at the school, our top student at the school. So just their character alone, they go hand in hand. Number two will be worn by one of those two gentlemen, or maybe both.
How do you do that? Will you make it 2A and 2B? I mean,
and Eugene's a defense tackle. That's going to look really weird.
One's on offense and one's on defense. So that's been wrecking my mind here. But I know definitely one of those two gentlemen will be wearing it. They both deserve it. Like I said, 2 is not a number that anyone can ask for, and it's not, it's not the number that you get to pick. So I assigned that number based on a lot of different reasons, not just athletic ability, but also just character and how they uphold themselves and how they represent our program. And those two gentlemen represent our program to the fullest. I actually have, this class, there's about 10 kids that can wear that number. Really, I mean, that's a really good group of kids, and that's what I've been looking for over the years. Is a good group of kids with good parents. Is what is ideal for us, but like I said, sometimes it's kids that come from a bad situation that end up being a great kid with the right guidance. So,
explain the number two for our viewers who might not know the story behind the number two and why it's such a badge of honor at Lincoln High.
Number two was worn by a young man by the name of Donnell Davis. Donnell Davis was a funny kid. He was a good student, a great kid, great character, great support from his parents. He was actually a JV kid at the time. We went up and participated in an event in LA at Combine. And when we came back, the kids were all going to go bowling one night, and something happened at the bowling alley, and someone, random act of violence, someone drove by and took a shot in the car and actually shot Donnell. Shot Donnell at the time. And it was actually another player that was in a couple of other players in the car with him, but he got murdered. And after that, my son David Dunn was good friends with Donnell, and the whole team was devastated, as well as the coaching staff. And I played Pop Warner with his father as well. I knew the relationship. But we took that number off. No one wears it on JV. Our freshman, it's not allowed to be worn. Those last jerseys was given to his parents. And on varsity, my son stepped up and he was like, I want to represent Donnell. And my son's always been a good student, and he was doing some good things. And from that point on, I just kind of started selecting based on his character and what he brought to this team. He brought laughter. He brought joy. He showed up every day. He made it fun to be here. He worked hard. And he did a lot of the right things. So I just started choosing a player that fits that number. Don Chapman wore that number. Tyree Robinson wore that number. Kayvon Brown wore that number. Roderick Robinson wore that number. And they all excelled not only on the field, but also off the field. They've done really, really good things. So the kids know that that number is something special to me personally and to this program. I pick that number every year.
You gonna make me ask after that question? You always make me look stupid with my questions after
go ahead.
I go like that.
What?
Coach, I do have a question. It has nothing to do with that. I'm sorry, but you played Division I, you played pro, so you know how the game works. A recruiter, you get recruiters to come in there, and I look at like Eugene Rice. Eugene Rice was 3 inches taller. He could go to any college you wanted to go to. Is it get frustrating trying to sell guys, recruiters, but like, hey, take a shot at this guy just because he's not the prototypical 6'1", 6'2"? But I mean, that kid could play anywhere if he was just a few inches taller. But and it really shouldn't matter with Aaron Donalds and everybody else coming out of the world now that are showing it. But it's still, that has to be frustrating.
It's extremely frustrating. I mean, Eugene's, you say he doesn't meet the height that a lot of the scouts are looking for, but they love his energy. They love his, they love the way he plays on the field. They're like, this guy can really get after it, and he's excellent in the classroom. So I've sat with Eugene and I explained to him, you may not meet the height challenges of some of the other guys with the big time offers, but I'm pushing him to the Ivy League schools. He maintains the 4.33 GPA. He's taking the AP courses. He's taking the college courses. He excels in the classroom. So I told him, it doesn't matter if you play at the big program. It's as long as you matter at a program. And Eugene has he comes from humble surroundings, and he works extremely hard. So I was talking to some of the Ivy League schools and some of the smaller schools, saying, "Hey, this is the kid that you should take. You're not taking a chance on him. You should give him an opportunity, because if you're not taking a chance with him, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a guy that's going to show up every single day. He's going to make your team better. That's what he's going to do. He's also going to take care of his business academically. I don't. The scouts come in and we have a different level of respect. I don't want anything false coming to my kids. I want an offer that is committable. I want something that they can stand on, and I stand on my word when I talk about a kid, and I want them to stand on their word when they offer my kid. So I'm not the type of guy that's just looking for a bunch of offers to be out there. I want something that's committable for my guys to make sure that they can have their college life paid for, walk away with no debt. And, that's my main thing. They want to knock out this bachelor's degree in 3.5 years, stay on course, and hopefully start on your master's while you're still there. That is our goal. Our whole plan is just a little bit different. And when my kids sit down with me and their family sit down with me, they see that my vision is totally different than just trying to win a championship and just trying to win a championship and then saying how many offers that we have going out. I mean, I know it goes on social media a lot, but my personal vision is just a lot different. And the vision of my coaches and stuff is a lot different. We want to have our kids to have a successful career, and football is just an avenue that opens that door for you, so our kids, like I said, Eugene Rice and Aiden Jackson can actually, Isaiah Bartolome and all these guys, they can actually graduate at the end of their junior year this year.
Wow.
And they're all set to graduate. They're going to graduate early next year, but they're also going to all graduate with 12 to 14 credits already completed for college. Just like Roger Robinson and guys did. They already went in with a semester completed. So while we're looking at 3.5 years, colleges are looking at 3.5 years for you to get your degree, our guys are actually completing them in 3.
I think Bert
which means you're going to start. Which means you're going to start on your master's. Which means no loans. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole different ball game. So when people look at Lincoln football program, they look at football only, and it's so much bigger than just football. We have a whole different plan. But if you don't come by and ask and talk to us and find out what we're actually doing here, then you miss out.
All right, let me drop the turd in the punch bowl here. I'll ask the question that'll bring the mood down. Coach, how often do you look at the Granite Hills tape, the goal line sequence, or are you done looking at it?
You know what? Those 40 seconds are something I can never get back. And I can never get back, man. It's going to haunt me for the rest of my life. It was huge ups and downs during that time, and so much went through my head. I have to talk to my coaches over and over because everyone's beating themselves up over it. There were so many opportunities that took place. And I was actually talking to one of my coaches yesterday, and I said, we got that penalty when we got down there. First, was wondering how we didn't get in the end zone on that play that the pass Keely made to CJ. I thought he could have gotten in the end zone, but we didn't. But I also remember the huge play before that where he got helmet to helmet, and Granite got a flag on that, and I was like, was the kid actually okay? So a lot of things kind of went through my head, man. I'm looking at the substitution and the penalty to where we had 12 men on the field, and CJ had to come out. He came out because he was throwing up, and nobody really looked at that. I didn't even notice it till afterwards. That's a clear sign of probably concussion. The kid shouldn't even been in the game right then and there. And so it's so much thing that we look at that took place in that time that no one really paid attention to. That penalty, then getting right back to the 2-yard line. And, just a bunch of sideline commotion. I have a lot of alumni that were back on the field and a lot of people that I invited down and gave passes to. And, headsets wasn't on during that time. Because there was some interference going on. So we didn't have the headsets on. I couldn't talk to Carter and Bashif and rely, hey, making sure we're kicking this ball. Let's get ready to go. I physically tried to go down there, but it was so many people in the way. I had to turn and tell everybody to get back. And as I'm turning around, the ball's being snapped. So I'm like, it was so many things that took place in that those last minute, 2 minutes that it seems like forever, man. But I think at the end of the game, when we were all stunned, Granite was stunned, everybody was stunned. But like I said, as a head coach, I have to turn and take this it's on me. It's on me. It's on no one else. I'm the leader of this ship here, and I have to look in the camera and have to say it with with a straight face and a full heart, man, that I lost that opportunity for those kids. So it really bothers me. That bothers me more than anything. But you know what? It's
high school football.
It's a lesson learned. Yeah. So it's a lesson learned to make sure we have everything in order that we need to have in order, and for those type of games.
All right.
Oh, I got one more. Have you got anybody to play you at the Kickoff Classic yet? Or you still can't find anybody?
No, man. I mean, look like we'll be probably scrimmaging our JV team, I guess. We can't find a scrimmage.
But you can't find anybody in town it's a scrimmage. It's not even a game.
It's a scrimmage. It's a scrimmage game, man. I mean, I'm like, we're going to script 30 plays maybe, and it's a scrimmage. I know Mira Mesa was open to do it a 3-way, but I don't think Otai was okay with it. So
that's crazy.
I don't know, man. We will try to figure it out, but I'm like, there's no way we should have to travel out of town for a scrimmage game. That doesn't make any sense.
All right.
So they told me once before, Paul. They said if you build it, they'll come, right? So we've been building, and it's not happening that way. It seems like nobody wants to let us in the door. They don't want the kids to come here anymore. They don't want them to visit the school. They don't want to do anything with the program. And what they don't know is, behind the scenes, this will be the best thing that happens for you, on and off the field.
All right, last question. I promised I wasn't going to ask about the dancing in Hawaii, so I'm not going to do that. Even though that might be the best video of my Did you see about the
Hulu thing?
Yeah.
I saw it.
I promise I'm not asking about that, but I do want to have one off the field question, because you're a rib master, are you not? I mean, what's the secret to David Dunn's ribs?
Love and patience, man. My dad's staying with me right now. My dad is the one who taught me how to barbecue, and he just takes his time, man. He takes his time. He has his own methods of doing things. We like putting the meat on the grill, dealing with the flames and the fire, and it's a lot of patience. And then partnering with Coach Stutz, my long-term coaching buddy, and forming Big Belly Barbecue. We just, we take our time with it. We put a lot of love in it, and consistency. And I think that's the big thing for us, is just consistency with everything we're doing. And those ribs, man, I mean, everybody's calling for them. Everybody loves them. And you got to try, man. We put some barbecue neck bones on the grill, man. You got to try these neck bones. They'll make you lose your mind.
I hope I get invited to the next function that has them. Coach, we kept you longer. I'll cut this stuff up either today or tomorrow and get it out on the social media platforms. Do I have your permission to use that video you guys made of your field?
Oh yeah, definitely. No problem at all.
All right. So then I just want that on record somewhere, because I don't want to get sued by you guys down the road. So
yeah. So my son put that together for his Instagram. You talking about that video that I showed you earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah. My son and my daughter put that together from their Instagram.
Excellent.
So
excellent. So I got your permission to use it.
Yes, sir.
All right, David. Thank you for doing this, and we'll see what comes of it. Okay.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you,
All
Coach.
right. PPR Podcast 154 is over, everybody.